Hello, everyone. I am ZHAO Chuang. Today, let's draw the hind limbs of Torvosaurus. We will only draw 1 foot of the Torvosaurus for now. We can draw what it would look like from this side. One advantage of observing from the inside is that we can see its 4 toes. There are a few things we need to pay attention to when drawing. For example, the proportions of different parts, so we need to know the proportions of its toes and legs. Another thing we need to pay attention to is the different lengths of its toes. We must decide the lengths of the toes right at the beginning, so that they wouldn't look strange after they are drawn. Finally, we want to add some details, such as the large scales on the instep, the order in which these scales grow, and how the wide scales on the instep disappeared towards both sides. Now, let's draw the hind limbs of the Torvosaurus. First, draw the upper leg. We'll draw its left foot seen from the inside. This is the ankle, and this is the sole. The sole consisted of metatarsal bones. The metatarsus on the inside was the first one, which connected to the first toe. The first toe had only one joint at the base, and the claw would be off the ground when the Torvosaurus was walking, so this claw can be given a sharper look. Some large scales can be drawn on the back of this toe. Before drawing the other 3 toes, we can draw the metatarsal bones. The second metatarsus was shorter, the third was the longest, and the fourth was even shorter. The other 3 toes grew at the distal end of these 3 metatarsal bones. Now, let's draw its second toe, which consisted of 2 joints, with the first phalange being this long, and the second phalange this long. The third toe consisted of 3 phalanges, the first ended here, the second ended here, and the third ended here. Then move on to the 4th toe, which was made up of 4 phalanges. This is the first phalange, the second and third ones were shorter, and the 4th phalange was longer. And then let's draw its claws. This is the first claw, these are the second and the third claws. Now, we can add some details. Start with the claws, because the claws were the least blocked. The claws curved downward, the tips of which were worn out and became blunt. On the sides of the claws, there were blood grooves which housed the blood vessels of the toenails. Then move on to the toe pads, which were made of thick flesh. The toe pad at the end was the largest and was close to the toenail. The other toe also had a thick pad. There were thick pads behind the 3 toes. We can draw some folds between the toe pads. Then let's draw the large scales on the back of its toes. These scales became smaller towards the base of the toes before disappearing. The same goes for the third toe on this side. Then we can roughly draw the boundary between the toe pads and the phalanges. Now, we can draw some large scales on the instep. Start drawing some distance away from the toes. These scales were probably large at the center of the instep, before breaking into smaller scales towards the ankle. Although no such evidence has been found in dinosaurs, based on many extant birds, we know that the scales would gradually become small and narrow towards the bottom, corresponding to a certain toe. Finally, draw some folds on the ankle. Good, like this, we've finished drawing the hind limbs of Torvosaurus.